It is Sagittarius season, and I have a question for each sign this month that will kind of be the theme of our reading, or the question we go back to, or a question that you can go back to for the next month. This month as a fellow fire season, and then also towards the end of the month, towards as we get into Capricorn season, Jupiter will enter Aries for a nice little go around. For those of you who have been waiting for the fire, here it is. And your question is a little funny, but it's also, we could get a little serious with it too. Is it too hot to handle, or are you too hot to handle? I guess this outfit is appropriate. You find that now you need to either keep up with the pace in which you've been going, or you need to ask yourself, what is your pace this month? And try different ones out. It's a great month to experiment because, I mean, if you have obligations or things or places you need to go this month and you need to be for the season that it is, then it will make it easier for you. This is a lot of my advice this month, is like anywhere you enter and you're not feeling like this month, or you're not as simple as it can be, you're not feeling the vibe, it just isn't it, I would just leave. Because if you engage, then maybe you become the handle that becomes too hot to handle. So yeah, you could be the shit and also listen and give yourself what you need, as opposed to what you think other people need, or wanting to assert yourself just because you're feeling impatient. The Empress oversees. It does. It oversees the land, the grounds, everything that is within her presence. That's the mode in the beginning of the month. Everything that you're witnessing, noticing, is just emotion. It's just a part of the wind sweeping by. It's just a part of Mars and Gemini in this fire season. I wouldn't take it too serious. I would keep it moving and focus on what is causing you to have so much progress. Even if the progress doesn't necessarily last as long every time, or the feeling goes away, you're still doing it. So there's a part of you that wants to be irrational, and there's a part of you that wants to be rational this month. And you kind of got to go in between and figure out what, and move through all the experiences and figure out what's dominating. And then, I know it sounds easy because I'm saying this step by step, but then recognize what it is that you have, what it is that's already here, what is that's already made you strong enough, what's already made you enough to be generous with your resources, what's caused you to tie up how people view you for your self-worth. I know that Aries probably wouldn't admit that completely, unless they know that knowing that is more powerful, which it is. And if you're someone who is just hearing that and it's not sitting well with you, you're on the Libra Aries cusp. Libra sun. We care. We've cared. Or you've cared more than you want to care now. And that's actually important because it actually gives you more power. It actually gives you more of a presence when you're commanding it from within, when you know your vision, when you know and are open to the flexibility, the mutability of this month, and not trying to control too much, because that's what the beginning of this month is. We came from a fixed sign, so you might want to, you have this notion to want to control or assert, and you could get sick, or you can start to feel way too ungrounded, and you realize, oh, I gotta pull back. Like, fire still needs to be, and still needs something to continuously burn, right? And if this is a spiritual thing, then it's reminding yourself of that faith. Like, finding the gratitude for what you've acquired up until this point. Noticing the kind of strength it takes to have already done that. And this month you could need to be more of a listening ear. And maybe that will be helpful. There's a lot you want to do, sure you want to gain. And now it's like, well, how? Why? Isn't there enough? Don't you already have enough? Look at how much is already around you. And what is kind of strength mean to you now? Well, next month, we'll have to be a lot more stable. Well, through this month too. But there's a lot of yellow, so there's a lot of brightness here in the cards I just showed you. And you're a sign that likes to be very vocal about your independence, and it's really important to notice where you lack that, or where you're more likely to be codependent or intertwined and hold weight to. And when you recognize these things, and yeah, they can feel like an attack, or feel like, you could take these things personal, because it is personal. However, that pain that you feel, which is fire, is a part of the burning process. Like, I even imagine, like, oh, the wood's like, ow, before it's like, numb to the heat around it. It's kind of like getting a tattoo. If you ever had a tattoo, like, eventually it just feels like numb, but it hurts at the same time. It's the rawness, right? The realness. And you might have to put some pride aside this month, because, like, strength, King of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, pride aside. Not really care how whoever's going to view you. There's a Taurus, Leo thing going on here too, where you're going to need to acknowledge someone for who they are, because that's actually what's stopping you from really seeing more. And Jupiter is going to come into your sign and be like, hey, what's going on? Like, where do you want to go? How do you want to roam? Like, there's so much here. There's so much luck, but it's also like, if you aren't letting yourself see that before all of that, like the 29th, then it's going to be a lot harder to get to the, hey, it'll be more like a, and you'll want to poke at other people till they fight, like, until you get into this tizzy or fight or whatever it is, and then you feel bad, and then you go into it. So there's a couple ways you can go about it, and I know, but that's how you can be. So control what you can. Know that it's not a lot. Put your pride aside. Or can you put your pride aside? Like, can you, and if not, someone will, again, you'll get that external experience. Well, someone will maybe trigger you to come back to that place. Maybe, provoke that. And it's for the better. It's for the betterment of you and for where you're going, and seeing beyond the horizons that even was set up for you. Like, what, even it's just asking yourself, like, what certain programming is holding you back then from experience, or even allow yourself to visualize more, or what you really want. Like, not just what you've been given, like what kind of relationships do you want? Yeah, you're this independent, badass, whatever, and that's great, but then who's around to like share it with? Like, who's really around you? And yeah, lots of fire this month. You know, you may not, you may have to, burn or fail or have a situation this month because it's just a lot going on. But if there's someone grounded in your life that you can go to and that you're drawn to, I'd go to that person. They may have a lot of wisdom for you. They may have been in your position. Maybe you have never known that they've been in your position. You can't assume people all the time. Some people it's easy to assume, but you can't assume people all the time. So would you want someone to do that to you? No, maybe they do. Sure. But in this moment, a lot more can be done if you didn't. It'd be easier, let's just say. Yeah. Wasn't expecting this for you, but as always, we're coming in hot. And just notice. And take it for what you will. This month can be a whirlwind or it can be a fun ride. You kind of got to pick your option. All right, Aries, we'll see you in the second part, which will be in a link below. All information to work with me is there, and everything else. If you celebrate the holidays, happy holidays. If you don't, or if you find yourself feeling the extremes and up and downs of like all of this togetherness and aloneness, and don't be afraid to reach out. Never be afraid to get that uncomfortable. It's okay to know that you need someone, to admit that you need someone. That's specifically for you. To admit that you need people instead of letting it out in a way that's immature. It's like, it's okay to miss, like, they miss you too. They probably miss you too. Just be honest. And then those actions. Remember those actions.